Hello everyone, and today I'm going to show you how to tame an Argy in one of, if not, the easiest ways possible. Now, Argys are the pinnacle of the mid-game when it comes to taming, resource gathering, and everything and the like. The Argy is a go-to creature. So first off, you're going to want to tame yourself a Lamantra. Alright, so you're going to want to tame yourself a Lamantra. Any level will do. This is just a basic level 15. You want to pin him to the ground and show him who's daddy.
Who's your daddy?
Should not take you too long whatsoever. Now, the Lamantra is an herbivore, so you're going to want to gather yourself some berries or some crops, preferably crops because berries will take forever. It takes them forever to tame up, so I hopped on my morel tops and I farmed up some berries, and once I had an adequate supply, I went through and I stuffed them down his throat. And then I realized we actually did not have the Lamantra set unlocked. I did not have enough fiber to be able to build this saddle, so I got to picking fiber, and let me tell you, it is such a hassle and a pain without having the sickle to be able to do that, which is why we want the Argy so we can start making a metal run so we can craft up all those essential tools. So after picking fiber what felt like ages and my hands raw and bleeding, we had enough to be able to craft the saddle. And then once we did that, we knew that we were not going to name this guy. He was basically going to be a one-trip and done kind of guy. Because as soon as we got that Argy, we were going to park him and he was going to start collecting some dust. So we set on off here and we started to look for an Argy. And this guy looks like one of those little ocean bugs. You see, like the little water beetles. He doesn't look very pretty. So yeah, we're just going to get rid of him as soon as we can. Of course, we'll probably bring him back to the base. But as we're setting off here, it was actually a giant solar storm. So a quick little note in single player. If you're in a storm, just log off and log back in, and the storm will actually end. So you don't have to sit there through a bunch of random storms. If you're in the middle of a storm, I'd say it's pretty cheaty, but if you're just going to sit in your house for 20 minutes and you're wasting your time, then I feel like that's kind of silly. You should take advantage of it. So afterwards, we made our way up to the Argys here, and we're on the mountain just above our base where there's basically everything. There's obsidian, metal, crystal, and a plethora of Argys. So we looked for some decent ones, and we looked for the perfect tame, but being a story map, perfect tame means whatever the hell you can find.
That's right!
So this was a 110 Argy that we found. So he fortunately sat down for us, so I was able to get a couple arrows in him, and he started to chase me up here. Now up here I had set up a trap, and this trap is pretty simple to use, but unfortunately I missed him going into it, and my little guy went absolutely crazy. So I told him to go on passive, and then I whistled him towards me, because we were going to do this one more time. It should be pretty simple and straightforward. And this trap you can actually use by flying your PT or a Lamantra directly through it, so it is very, very easy to use, and no reason to dismount whatsoever until after the bird is already trapped. So you're going to want to guide him straight into the tunnel, and then basically park your creature, hop right off.
Gotcha, bitch!
And then you can go through and tame him. Now this trap consists of literally just 4 items. 1 pillar, 2 doors, 1 is a regular doorway, the other is a trap door, and then you have the ramp. And then you'll notice after they start to get torpor running, even when he turns around, that he still cannot get out. He is stuck, and there's absolutely no way for him to get away from this. And after not too long, he should be down, and then we are all good to go. We just need to be able to find ourselves some meat. So I basically marked him on the tracker so I knew where he was, because it's pretty easy to lose things out here in the wild, or they possibly die, especially on Scorched Earth. And I have no idea why there was a pego there. So I went home and I grabbed Fang, my wolf, and I grabbed Sunny, my raptor, and we set off on a baby killing spree. We were going to murder babies in the masses. Well, in the game anyway.
What is wrong with you?
We don't like Dodics. They are a bane of our existence in this playthrough. They are the plague. And we shall cure the Scorched Earth of this plague. So we continue looking for some babies after we wiped out that Dodic, and we hit the double whammy, the ultimate treasure. A baby Dodic. So of course, yeah, we munched on him too. And then after we destroyed him and got all of his meat, we realized, oh, your parents here too. We should do them a favor and put them down as well. And with that being said, we had plenty of prime meat, so we started to make our way back down to the base so we could have enough to tame up our Argy. And then we found one last little baby, so for good measure, we also ate him up. And that was going to be it. Or so we thought. We had an unexpected visitor. I heard some straight sounds following me down that was not my raptor. And it looks like there was a terror bird who was trying to join the party. We did what we naturally would do. We put him in his place to remind him of whose hill this is. And after that, we headed on back to the base. Now, I was quite thirsty, of course. You're always thirsty on Scorched Earth, so I grabbed some of this guy's jugs and I drank some water. And then I realized I had leveled up. We had actually hit level 62 and 63. meaning we were now high enough level to be able to build the Argy saddle. So went in and I unlocked the engram here to be able to use the Argy saddle, and I realized we're going to want to craft one up, so when we go up there we can immediately ride him and get rid of this little bugger. And I realized that we were short on both chitin and hides, so I checked over the Merlotops here, as this guy was literally just my walking storage chest because he had a bunch of weight, and he basically was just here to feed me water, and I realized I actually had everything to be able to craft this. Thank goodness for Horden. And I loaded up our Lamantra here with the rest of Prime Meat, and we headed on back to be able to go to the Argy. But we didn't make it all the way that far because this guy is out of shape. He has not been to the gym in ages.
Your butt is wide.
Look at the size of him. Seriously, this guy needs to chill. And we made it all the way back up to the mountain here. We loaded up a couple of stacks of prime meat in the Argy, and I realized one stack was not going to be enough. So we went with the second stack, because if I did not, he was going to starve quite quickly. This bird was a hungry, hungry bird. And then I realized that he wasn't ready to eat. So on that note, I hopped back on the Lamantra here, and I realized I would hang out with him for this last couple of seconds of bonding, and we'd check out the local wildlife together, as the Argy was not quite ready. But eventually, the Argy finally was able to get tamed up, and we hopped off Lamantra and bid farewell, as we were going to be riding this new, magical, awesome beast. He was going to do anything and everything we needed. And when you want to let him out of the trap, all you need to do once he's tamed is just open the door. It's as simple as that. So even if it's damaged, it can still open. Pretty darn easy trap to use. Put on our saddle here on our big boy. Bid farewell to the moth. Don't worry, we're not going to leave him there. We will eventually come back for him. Hopefully nothing bad happens. And we headed on down for the yellow drop that I had been eyeing for quite a little while.
Ooh, shiny.
However, we got distracted and saw a pretty shiny bird, and we were ready to replace this one as soon as we got it. However, I could not see the level, so we continued to head down to the drop and open it up, hoping for something delightful. And unfortunately, we were met with just, a whole lot of crap. Nothing good. So we hopped back on the bird, and we realized that we needed to head back as it was quite hot out. But I realized we had the power. We had the power to deliver pain. We had the power to get resources or save stuff. So I picked up this wolf, and I wanted the desert to know who was now in charge. Now that we had an Argy, we would not be taking any more crap from these creatures. So I picked him up and tossed him around and let him know who's boss. Gave him the good old beatdown. And then I realized that we hit him so hard that he floated. Not sure what happened there. Alright. And then I found this Equus was about to get munched on by some thorny dragons, so I saved him and I called our little buddy here, and I realized this was great. Now that we had this Argy, we were never ever gonna have to worry about anything again, but I just needed to wait for this guy because it was taking him literally forever. And then while I was waiting for him, I got rudely punched in the face by this Argy, so I started attacking back. And then I realized about 4 punches in that we were actually damaging the horse, so I tossed him down to finish the fight.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
And I realized that I just put him in a much, much worse situation. So I went down and I picked him up, and I avoided the fight, and I saved him. And I dropped him off in this sweet little valley that we call home here, hoping that he would be able to make it here and survive and thrive. And maybe one day we would call him a friend. Our Lamantra did not want to lay down. He did not want to stay because he knew this was going to be his last flight. And then the Argy came in and made him sit. He said, "Be a good boy. This is now my home. Know your place."
I am king.
So we took the Argy back up and farmed some crystals and some metal, and we gathered all the resources that we could possibly fit on both us and the Argy without being overburdened. This felt great. We were truly on the road to be able to build everything we needed. And we would never, ever have to worry about dealing with anything, especially a rock golem, ever again.
Oh, hell no!
And then once we parked the Argy down, we had to go through and get another drink of water, because again, you were always thirsty on Scorched. And we had to start sorting out the resources here, figuring out what we were going to do with everything, because everything was just being stored in the Merlotops. But first and foremost, we did need to go through and melt this metal down, as we needed this to build the Doedicurus saddle. But I realized, speaking of metal, we no longer needed this crappy stone tool, so we hopped up on a cliff and chucked them out the inventory, just so we would never see them again. Thank goodness. Oh, wait a minute. That's my front yard. Ah, shit. After cleaning up the front yard here and realizing that I had just littered all over my own front yard, we had some unexpected visitors knocking on the front door. We saw a flying Carno. That was odd. So we went over and greeted them with our new powerful Argy that they would greatly forget the day they ever came here, because we were going to kill them. And after we killed him and got some nice Wagyu steak from him, we picked up the Daedon, but apparently this piece of bacon is chewy. It took literally forever to kill this thing, and it was so darn chewy that even the Argy didn't want to eat it. Ew! Okay, Ark. I guess we can't kill things in the sky anymore? Good to know. We made ourselves up a nice little metal sickle because we actually needed some fiber to be able to craft the ridiculous thing, and I was not picking fiber again, so we started mowing the lawn. Ah, that looks delightful. Then a sandstorm was a-brewing, so we went on side here and closed the door, and we had everything we needed to craft up the Doedicurus saddle. So we crafted it up, and the sandstorm was over. We head on out to find the little baby Doedicurus that we had raised up and tossed on the saddle. And then once we had that, we leveled up some weight because this guy was going to be a packin'. And we rolled out. Fortunately, it was a short-lived trip as we did not have enough weight to be able to handle all of the sand that we were accumulating. We made our way back to the base here and realized we had accomplished so much. And we finally got ourselves a flyer. We had tamed the Lymancer, who was just a first step in the process. Got ourselves a nice Argy. I told you, once you tame yourself an Argy, the world opens up for you. Alright, well, if you enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to see more.